Lions TV, we are sponsored by Regal Elevators and Lifts Consultants Limited, a company that is owned and operated by a Millwall fan, just like every single one of the sponsors that you can see on the screen right now. If you are going to do a bit of business in 2020, then please keep it in the Millwall family by checking out all of our sponsors' website links in the description below. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching this and wherever you may be watching this. This is a midweek roundup show. There was no post-match analysis after Saturday's 1-1 draw against Bristol City at the Den, but there was a method to my madness. Sunday, I gave myself the day off, and Monday, I was supposed to be watching the under-23s. They were away at Ipswich. I was at my mate's house ready to go, and about 20 minutes before we was going to leave, the game got called off due to a waterlogged pitch and will be rearranged for a later date. I'll also be travelling to Coventry on Monday for my sins to watch the under-23s. They're in action again. I love the under-23 content. I try and cover as many games as I can. Obviously, Calmont Road is a closed training ground. That's a code that I cannot crack. But if it's ever at the Den, at Dartford, or an away ground, or a training ground that I can get into, I will try and cover it. I feel less pressure covering those games. I really enjoy them. And I can just really chill out and watch the game and enjoy it. Obviously, as much as I love watching the first team, it is, as much as I'm a fan, a little bit, I'm under pressure to get the content out, etc., etc. So I enjoy the 23's matches, and they're doing well as well. They're pushing to win the league, as well as having some very young and exciting players in that side. So there's your little 23's roundup straight away. And let's move on to Saturday's game at the Den, which was against Bristol City. So as I've already told you, there should have been obviously a post-match, as you know, on Sunday, or if not, worst case, Monday. And due to what I've already said, is the reasons why it didn't go out. And it's a little bit time-sensitive, the content at the moment has sort of passed for Bristol City. So I will just very quickly, or as quick as I can, I love to talk, as you know, round up the game. Gaffer went 4-4-2. It needed changing. I recommended a 3-5-2 or 1 or something. I can't remember why I recommended, but that's by the by. The Gaffer went with a 4-4-2. And I don't think we was far off what we got available at the moment. The back four, obviously, as you were, Hutchinson played, and I do rate Hutchinson more than Pearce, but I thought Hutch was carrying a knock. There was a rumour going around that and online he had an injury that had been carrying for a while. And I just thought he had 2 poor games in a row after Preston against Wigan, and the other game escapes me, the opponent. But I just thought he may have needed a rest, and he may have needed Alex Pearce to come in. And I was wrong. He got in the team of the week, and he played very well, Sean Hutchinson. Goalkeeper didn't have a lot to do. The midfield two, Malumbi and Woods, for me, look, they're the problem, but at the same time, they're not the problem. They're both very good players, in my opinion. Both players that we're lucky to have at the club, in my opinion. Both better than things we've had previously at the club in that position. Mind you, having said that, I saw George fucking Saville on the bench last night for Middlesbrough. That was painful to watch, because we could do with him back all day long. But getting back to our midfielders, Woods and Malumbi, they're the problem, but they're not the problem at the same time. It's very difficult to explain. Well, it's not. I'll explain it. Because I'll be honest, at half-time on Saturday, I was absolutely fuming. I went down about 5 minutes before half-time, and I never do that. I was pissed off. And the reason was, Woods and Malumbi are very, very good players, as I've said. But they're too fucking similar. And the reason that a lot of the reason we don't create anything is because not one of them gets forward. And maybe they're being instructed by the gaffer to sit. I'm not sure. But as good as they both are technically, along with Sean Williams, not any one of them three can get forward and support the front two. And that is something we're massively lacking. As I say, we try and, when we're till half-time on Saturday, we try and get balls wide, get fullbacks on the overlap, and either it doesn't happen because Murray Wallace isn't quick enough, or it doesn't happen because Romeo's deliveries aren't good enough. So, and not just them two, the whole team, we don't move the ball quick enough. But the central midfielders, it was driving me mad. Someone said, Birmingham was the home game I couldn't think of. Oh, those two run the midfield against Birmingham. They didn't run the midfield against Birmingham because they wasn't playing in midfield. You've got 2 centre-halves, and anyone can go and collect a ball off a centre-half, 3 yards off him, turn around and look in front of him with a whole pitch. That's not really the midfield. The midfield battle isn't won and lost sitting in front of the back four. It's won in the centre and pushing forward as well. There's 3 areas for a midfielder to play in. And I just felt that this is a massive problem. But it's not really their fault because they're great players. They're just similar players. So I'm not blaming those two, but one of them's got to be encouraged to push on. And I'm not sure even one of them's capable of doing that. As I said, again, it's both great players in my opinion, but not either of them's really an attacking player. Woods definitely isn't going to do that. He likes to get the ball deep. He likes to distribute. Malumbi possibly, but the one thing he hasn't got, he's got a lot about his game, and he's a great young player, but he hasn't got goals in him, I don't think. So we're missing Thompson. Leonard can't do it. Billy Mitchell could do it if we give him the chance, possibly. And Who's the other one? Sean Williams could be back in contention for Nottingham Forest. But I feel that was the problem. I really do. You've got to get running beyond. You've got to knock the ball into the front two and get beyond. Especially with Smith up front and Bradshaw in and around him, following balls in when they come in from crosses and it gets knocked down, sniffing around it, trying to get on the end of things. And neither of those players do that. And I thought that was a massive problem for us. Conor Mahoney, thought he had a very good game, if I'm honest. One of his better games at the club. And I felt that the crowd, some of you were being very impatient with him. He is a confidence player. He's not the player he was, and I think that's why people get frustrated, because we know the levels that he can get to. But it's the first time he started in a long time, and he's just got it. Whatever it is, that X factor, he's just got it. X factor is probably not a great innuendo to use, but whatever it is that can win you a football match, that ability to become a professional footballer and an exciting player, Conor Mahoney has that, and that's why he has to play, even if he's not at the races. Jed kept going over and holding his hand on the left wing, and again, I criticised Jed for that, for buzzing around everywhere. And the geezer next to me actually shouted out, "Get the fuck away from Mahoney and get back on the right wing." But I feel where Jed knows he's got to get over there and make things work on both sides of the pitch. If you give Mahoney a run on the side, I think Jed's got the confidence in Mahoney's ability to then maybe stay on the right-hand side of midfield, where he fucking should be, instead of buzzing everywhere, and get deliveries in himself. He don't have to take all the responsibility. And I thought Mahoney did well. I thought he had a good game. I thought he was probably one of the best players on the pitch for us. Well, he was one of the best players on the pitch for us. Maybe not the best, but it was a strong game for Mahoney. I do think people were getting impatient with him, and he set up the goal, the equaliser. We'll get onto that shortly. We conceded the goal, and then we had to concede before we seemed like we wanted to start playing. And even though we had better possession towards the end of the first half, again, nothing was fucking happening. Nothing was happening. And at half-time, obviously I'm not in the changing room, don't know anyone that was in the changing room, but I'm sure that Gary Rowett's half-time speech would have gone something like, "Abort mission. We've got the bits, we can't pop the ball around, we can't play out the back, we need to try something different here. I've changed formation, that's not working. I've given you a target man. The pitch is shit, the weather conditions aren't great. Let's get him turning." And that's what I always say. Under Neil Harris, we played no football, hoofball, some people like to call it, and it drove us fucking mad, despite him being a good manager for us and having a good record as our manager. But we never played any football, and it's painful, despite the success we had under Harris. We wanted a complete change, we wanted total football. We've got that under Rowett, but I think now that Gary Rowett's realised that these players, their confidence is now starting to drop after the original wave we was riding when he came in. I think he's now starting to realise that some of the players aren't good enough to do that. And I think at half-time he said to them, "Look, get balls over the top, get them turning, let's just play scrappy, let's just try and get back in the game." And it's not pretty to see all the time, but again, you have to take the conditions into account. You have to take your current form and, you know, what's going on around you in the division in account. And we started shipping balls over the top. We did still try to play a bit of football. We got balls wide, but it was better in the second half. We did create problems. Bristol City weren't a great team. Birmingham weren't a great team. Neither were Wigan, and neither are we at the minute. And I really feel, I'm really disappointed in the standard in this division at the minute. I've got to be honest. You've got us, Birmingham, Bristol City, all teams that could potentially still make the playoffs. And all three of us have been shit, if I'm honest. And I think overplaying football at times could kill us off. And I think Rowett's seen that now. And I think Rowett's saying, right, just get balls into the box, get them turning, let's try and find a different way. And we got the way. Conor Mahoney knocks it into the box. I thought it was an own goal. I saw Matt Smith go in, but he ran off celebrating like he was carrying a Domino's pizza. Like he just run with the ball like over to Conor Mahoney. So I thought he's not done much of a celebration. And it is an own goal. But obviously it wasn't. Matt Smith got the goal. And on the subject of Matt Smith, I'm not his biggest fan, as you know, but him and Bradshaw, at the minute, I don't want to say pick of a bad bunch. For what we've got at the club, I think that's our best two options, forwards-wise. I really do. Yeah, you know, Bavarson's not for me. I'd even try Aidan O'Brien with Bradshaw, maybe. I don't know. But look, I think the gaffer got it right formation-wise, and I think he got it right tactical-wise in the second half when things weren't going our way. As we know, he likes to change it, and he did change it. So again, unfortunately, boys, sorry if any of you are watching, I've got to point the finger at the players just for a lack of motivation and lack of desire, really. Again, look, and people pull me up on it, and you're right too, because everyone's got their own opinions. The last three performances have been very disappointing, but having said that, Preston have lost their last two games against difficult opposition, yes, but we are sneaking closer towards the playoffs, and we're getting closer with every round of games. And if you get a point in every round of games, you make a point up on those teams above you, eventually you make the top six. But if we was playing well and losing, I'd say yes, it's still a possibility. But the way we've been playing lately, I still can't see it. I am sorry to say that. It did end 1-1, and it has to be said as a good result eventually. And hopefully we stop the rot and we move on to Friday against Nottingham Forest. who are, of course, managed by Sabri Lamouchi. He came in the summer for Martin O'Neill, a great manager in my opinion, and obviously a Nottingham Forest legend, but it wasn't working under O'Neill, and Sabri Lamouchi seems to have put Forest back where they think they should be as a fan base and as a club. They are competing for the playoffs, although they've won only one of their last 5 games, which was last Friday on the box, away to Neil Harris's Cardiff. They played on the TV last night. I'm filming this on a Monday, by the way. Tuesday. You're watching this on Wednesday. They drew last night 2-2 against Jonathan Woodgate's Middlesbrough at the Riverside Stadium. So, yeah, no, they've been on telly a lot. They're going to be on telly again next Friday, of course, this Friday, against us. And that's going to cut our away following in probably a quarter, I'm worried about. But they are on a box against us. They are pushing for the playoffs. They currently sit 4th in the division. They are 8 points off second place Leeds. And as I said, look, they'll be expecting a home win. They need a home win to get their form back on track and keep alive their playoff push. They're comfortably in the playoffs and they're a little bit too far off automatic promotion. 8 points, I'd say, is probably a little bit of a gap. So maybe they're in that little bit of a lull at the minute of having to push themselves to the next level. The one to watch for them, I was going to say Thiago Silva, but luckily for us, no disrespect to him, he was injured and he missed the game last night against Middlesbrough. He scored the winner at Neil Harris's Cardiff in the wonder win they got last Friday on Sky, and he is a danger. He is a very good player for them, but he's injured. So the one to watch for them, he scored last night, he scored against us at the Den, he used to play for us, it's Pube Beard, Lewis Graben. It pains me to say, you know, he was terrible for us. He didn't fancy it, did he? But he's gone on to score goals wherever he's been and score goals against us wherever he's been. And he will be the one to watch on Friday at the City Ground. So this is your pre-match prediction, and here we go. Mini-Me is laying over there on the sofa. He hasn't moved all day, the lazy little shit. And I said to him a minute ago, what do you think the score's going to be and who do you think's going to score? He's gone for a 1-1. And I said, who do you think's going to score? He said, I don't know. And that's the problem. That's why I asked him the original question, because at the minute I can't see where a goal's coming from us. Matt Smith potentially, someone up from the back. Having said all that, I think we're going to do it. I think, you know, it is Millwall, it is topsy-turvy. We are very bipolar and very up and down, as I've already said. And I think we're going to do it. I think we're going to win the game by 1-0. And I'm going to go for Jake Cooper to get the goal. We've had lots of good away performances this season against Birmingham, against Swansea, against Bristol City. I don't know, too many to name, but I do think that we're going to do it and give ourselves that little lift we need before probably fucking it up the week after again at home to Wayne Rooney's Derby County. So there you go, I'm going for a 1-0 win. Please God, I hope I'm right. So all that's left for me to say is I will see you in Nottingham on Friday if you are crackers enough to follow us like I am. Please subscribe to Lions TV. Come on, you Lions.